I got a call about, it must have been about 6 in the morning. Came uptown and, by 2 blocks away, just looked like, still dark. Just see the flames and looked like a tornado of black smoke, and pieces of char were landing as far away as Casa. That was the day of the fire, and from then on it just sort of started the whole process of, first finding out if the building was still structurally sound, and then what it was going to entail to get us back open.
From there, Union Street entered a phase of rebuilding and rebirth. Some began thinking of new ideas to help the street rise from the ashes.
It was the Phoenix portion of the fire on West Union. It was time to do something new.
The plans for a Union Street Plaza were born last spring when Mayor Steve Patterson presented the idea to City Council. The mayor says the plans were met with early opposition because they cut parking spaces and permanently closed one lane of West Union.
So we started rethinking it.
And the city came up with this plan. The street would have its plaza and 2 lanes of traffic with parking on both sides. To make that happen, the travel lanes would be narrowed to 11 feet. That's 3 feet less for each lane. But it turns out that's an average width for a local city street. The sidewalk will include brickwork and curb bump outs on both sides of the street.
You don't get up in the morning and, comb half your hair or put half your makeup on, right? So we thought, well, we're going to just make this to where we're enhancing the features on both the north and the south sides.
The plaza will soon replace the Union Street fences with features like trees, park benches, solar power compacting trash bins, bike racks, park mobile, and compact car parking. The total cost will be around $160,000, but the mayor says it'll be worth it.
It was an opportunity. Being behind those construction fences for so long, and before that, the burn barriers as they were investigating what had happened in the fire-affected area, to me, it just opened an opportunity.
It's totally detrimental to business in Athens.
Andrew Lampola is co-owner of Hoffa's Record Store across the street from the burned-out buildings.
You can't just slap a plaza somewhere. It's as if he went from step 1 to step 5 without considering the ones in between. And, like I said, he's got great intentions, but I don't think the planning was laid out properly on this one.
Lampola says Union Street is a main route through town, and since the road closed, there have been many problems.
I've seen ambulances get stuck out here, traffic backed up down the hill.
And there's going to be some growing pains, right? Not everyone understands Park Mobile completely and how you use it. This will be one of the first streets that are painted with the share road symbol. People will have to learn you do have to share the road with these bicycles that'll be riding through there.
But before the first brick of the plaza can be laid, the last of the buildings need to be finished. Guy Phillips is the co-owner of 16 and 15 and a half West Union Street. He says keeping the original building fronts was a costly move, but there's a reason he wanted to preserve the history.
We knew our project was always going to take the longest because it's in the middle. Rebuilding this building is hugely expensive, and we went to great lengths to rebuild using the original facade. That way we qualified for a small tax credit from the state of Ohio.
What Phillips is talking about is the Ohio Historic Tax Credit Program. It's a competitive program to help cover the cost of restoring historic buildings. City Council designated parts of Union Street a historic district in March 2015, but 2 years later, Phillips' building was the only one to get the tax credit. He received a $250,000 tax credit. The estimated cost of the entire project was more than $2 million.
This section of the building, in order to meet the historical guidelines, it was very important to them that visually the front of the building does not change much and that other people can't really see the changes. So we didn't go up in height for the first and second floor, but back a ways there's a third floor, and even further back there's a fourth floor. But from nowhere on the street is that evidence to the general public.
As you can see, Phillips' building still needs some work done, but right next door, the Credit Union and 10 West are up and open for business. And if you take a walk down the street, the Union is also back open.
It was 18 months before we were open. I guess now I would say that I guess it went fairly well. It took a lot longer than we thought it was going to take. I mean, there's definitely some people that sort of miss the smelly dive bar charm that it was before. And, you know, as much as whether we loved it or not, when it's all brand new, it's going to take a few years to get there.
What you can't see in the renovations to the 160-year-old building are the safety improvements. It's practically a brand new building inside, completed with updated electric, plumbing, sprinkler systems, and fire alarms. As for the other Union Street plans, people get to decide whether they love it or not in a matter of weeks.
We are no longer talking years, we're no longer talking months, we're actually talking weeks for the residential area to open up, and at that point most of this can come down.
Make it to where there's these pockets of space to where people can sit back and kind of just enjoy the world as opposed to rush around and do this, do that, and there's nowhere you can sit and commingle. You know, sometimes looking like it used to look gets a little tired, but I think this will be good.
And for Eric Gunn, once the construction barricades that have blocked his business come down, Union Street will rise again.
You know, when you come out here at night and you have this fence outside with a plywood barrier and all this stuff, it's an eyesore, you know what I mean? And it's been an eyesore for years. Hopefully, when school starts next year, this will all be a distant memory. Whatever it turns into will be the way it always was. So that's, I mean, one of the things about Athens and college towns is that because of the turnover, you know, people get used to whatever the new thing is, and here we are.